Also tonight, my next guest, who is a foster parent to four children in Washington state. They are being kicked out of their home by a social services organization to make room for unaccompanied migrant children. Recently, Edmundo Sanchez received a letter saying he's going to lose his residence because the group has, quote, chosen to pursue a different strategic vision. Foster parent Edmundo Sanchez joins me now, along with Jason Rantz, radio talk show host, and the person who broke this story. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Edmundo. Thank you for joining us today. Tell us what happened and how you got the news.
I was at my place in Renton, Washington, and two of the managers of the agency that I work for, I do foster parenting, came to the house and they gave me a letter saying that I have 45 days to leave the house, the property owned by the agency that I work for, in 45 days. That's
right. And I understand, Jason, that after they were told to leave, the children, one ran away, the other one had a panic attack. I mean, this is what's so heartbreaking to me. I know a little bit about foster children because my husband, when he was in Congress, worked with foster children that were working up in Congress and had told me about their experiences. I don't know any population other than the unborn that is more vulnerable than a foster child.
They're incredibly vulnerable. I mean, they're going into the state already traumatized because of the situation that led them to foster care. And anytime they have to go from a home to a home to a home puts them in further trauma. It is a soulless position to do that to these kids. And as you point out, one ended up in the hospital with anxiety. And of course, another one is still out there, ran away. And I pray that this kid, doesn't become another statistic of a foster care kid who becomes homeless. We are in a crisis.
That's right.
And to kick them out so that we can replace them with unaccompanied migrants from the border is just turning your back on the people who need your help the most, who are your neighbors.
Mundo, do you think that this was about money? Do you think that they just thought they're going to get more money from the government if they take these other children and that jeopardize yours?
Definitely, Rachel. They say they want to maximize their resources, which in terms that I understand is maximize their profits, right? Which is not okay for an agency that is non-profit. So makes no sense.
Yeah. Jason, I'm just stunned. I just am really stunned. What is the state of Washington doing? Has the federal government said anything about this? And what are they going to do to find these foster children? Because we know they end up homeless.
You're right. So right now, there's no legislative fix here in Washington state, and certainly the federal government isn't getting involved. Now, on the state level, there are state lawmakers, and let's give a shout out to Michelle Caldier, who's a Republican state lawmaker who's trying to fix this problem, and she comes at it from a perspective of being a foster care kid, former foster care kid herself, and a foster care parent. Friends of Youth is the name of this group, and they're saying they're not making any extra money on this, but we know that they've got over $410,000 fund coming in from the federal government for the next 6 months to cover this. And they're saying, well, actually, that doesn't totally cover all of the expenses that we incur, which just, it seems a hard to believe position when you're removing a single family household and replacing it with a bunch of kids. I just don't necessarily buy that. And even if that were the case, again, you are then choosing to turn your backs on people you said you were going to take care of. It's just a horrible situation.
Edmundo, what are you going to do next?
I have no idea. We're moving out of the property today, we don't know what we're going to do next, honestly.
Well, it's very hard to find foster parents who are willing to take teenage kids. They're the hardest to place. So first of all, thank you for doing that. You're a great American for doing that.
Thank you, Rachel.
I really appreciate that. And Jason, thank you for breaking this story. It's so important. And again, thank you both for joining us today, joining me.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you.
All right.